I think in this industry, especially on the creative side of this industry, I feel like it's really hard for us to communicate our worth, right? And so when it comes to videos, when it comes to creative work, especially I'm going to pick on you, if you were doing a video in let's say the hip hop genre of music, if you're not doing it for no less than $10,000, there's no reason for you to do it. And this is not an inflated price. First of all, on any video, you can talk better than I can on this, you're going to have to do location scouting, right? You're going to have to figure out what is a storyboard. So you're going to have to storyboard this. You're going to then have to understand what the treatment looks like. Then you're going to have to work with the stylist to see the visual looks that this artist is going to have, right? Then you're going to have to actually shoot the whole damn thing, right? And when you finish shooting the damn thing, it's going to take you weeks to color, correct, as well as edit. And then once you edit and color and you send them a draft, you're going to have 4 or 5 revisions. And so listen, if you do not do this at a price point that allows your creativity to soar, you're losing. And what we do a lot in this industry as photographers, as videographers, we just want to be put on. And then our work suffers because you're not equipped with the time and the money and the resources to do your best work.
Then you may get a price point where you're over delivering based on the price point. So somebody might do anything less than $1,000 and they want effects and slow motion and drones and everything else, but then they don't want to pay.
Correct. I always tell people in this industry, if you're as good as you know you are, charge that rate. Charge that rate. And what's going to happen is that in any business, right, it's a law of averages, right? You're going to knock on 1 million doors and there's only a percentage that's going to come through. So I'll start there. Here's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, right? And it's called conversion rate. Apple, I'm a fanboy, I'm an Apple fanboy. They only have around a 3% conversion rate. And what a conversion rate is what percentage of people will actually buy your stuff. Right. So, with that example, for Apple, if you see 100 eyeballs on one thing will allow 3 people to actually buy something from Apple, right? Listen to that conversion rate, right?
100 eyeballs
means that only 3 people are going to buy an Apple Watch, an iPhone. Yes, 3 out of every 100 people, right?
You said 100 eyeballs and one person had 2 eyeballs.
Whoa. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, actually, fact. Out of 100 people that see Apple stuff, only 3 people will convert into buyers.
Damn.
Right? So you have to think, they spend billions on advertising just to get the revenues at where they are now, because only 3% of the people that see all of this global advertising will actually buy. Do you know what I mean? That's the reason why at a Super Bowl, someone will have a cheesy 15-second commercial and will pay $10 million for 15 seconds because they know that there is 100 million people watching, conversion rate of 1% or 2%, they'll make their money 10 times over. I say that in the creative industry, you have to understand that you have to sell your technical skills. You have to be proud of your talent. You have to put your work out there because you have the same odds as an Apple. You have the same odds as any company below Apple, and understand that at the $10,000 rate, the $15,000 rate, the $20,000 rate, the $30,000 rate, you're going to convert as long as you're promoting your stuff in the space of people that are looking for that work. And understand it's averages, nothing else.
Let me ask you this. So I knew a photographer who worked with Sosa, and he was charging, I think at the time, Soulja Boy like $10,000 to shoot it. Can you explain why he charged that much up front? Because he's not going to really make it on the back end after he delivers the images and things like that.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's because you also know your audience, right? You know that creative work has so much value in the immediate time, meaning that someone sees a visual of them, they're like, oh my God, this is crazy. and the ego says, oh my God, I got to show people. But once that's been satisfied, it's over. Try to collect any more money after the satisfaction of the ego has already been done with that. You're not. So like the creative space, you should always build a retainer that is beyond half of what the money it is. So that if it goes south when you're 40% into it, you already have a retainer that would buffer the 40% of work that you've done. Yeah, don't take any stops. You know, I think there is a time where every creative has to do work for little or no money, just to show their talent. But that space should be so short-lived, because if you're really good,
I'm
if
past
you-
it as far as personal.
if you're so good that people can't ignore you, there's no reason for you to do free work. That's it. Point blank.
Yeah, because I was always wondering about this, kind of like I never forgot it. I met him at the beginning of my photography endeavor,
Right.
and video endeavors, and I was like, damn, $10,000, and he had the pictures of the people. You know, I think he had a little bit of an ego as well, but in my mind, I was like, shit is not that good. And like, and the pictures that
Yeah.
I take now, and I was like, I can compare to people charging $500 for one look and things like that. I was like, how can I? Not to say how, I can just charge it, but, you know, get into that space
Right.
of, okay, this is that clientele that's
Right.
paying that rate. So,
Yeah, and you have to put yourself out there. I mean, every good creative is a sociopath, you know? Like Obama being president, you have to be a sociopath to be a president. You have to have such an ego, right, to say that I want to govern this whole country of the United States. Now, you may position it to be very altruistic or very for the greater good, but you have to be a sociopath just to be able to say, I am putting myself in the ring to be the president of the United States.
Right.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I don't think artists really understand. Artists have to be sociopaths, but creatives have to do the same thing. You have to be so unapologetic about your work, but you also have to be able to be humble enough to be able to take criticism from people that you respect, that are at your level or higher. But you have to be a sociopath. There's no other way. So it's a fact, man. It's so crazy, right? But it's the truth. It's the truth. You know,
So for you being a creative and an accountant, and do you do any work with, you know, or outside of being an accountant?
yeah, I mean, I design leather goods company. I have a company with Jay Gray. If you look at Colossal Futures at video, I'm wearing my bag on a plane when he's going into planes. Colin Kaepernick has our bags. Like we've done really well with our bags. Like I'm a creative, and I'm unapologetic about that. I mean, I've helped my sister on the front end and the back end. One Music Festival this year, I brought a creative team together and we did all of the merchandise for the One Music Festival. So, yeah.
So being an accountant in the industry, does it help you with the, I guess, the money side of being a creative? Because you know what it costs. You know who's going to buy it and where to market it, where to place it.
I think the only value of being an accountant, especially being, you know, I'm 41, right? And being able to do it for as long as I have, you know, I've been in my own private practice for 14 years. People lie, but numbers don't.
Right.
So I've seen so many companies fail, and I'm not just talking about entertainment, I'm talking about the dentistry, the gas station, the barber shop. And so I've been able to see from a molecular level why businesses fail. And what systems that they put in place to actually be successful. So I've kind of hacked, you know, whether I design, I've seen how successful companies have done procurement, you know, taken an idea, how do they get this stitched, what is the cost per unit, what multiple do you have to sell it at? So I got a cheat code because I've actually seen from a very granular level how companies are successful. And so that's what's really helped me. The industry hasn't helped me a lot.
Okay.
From a
I think that's what I
yeah. But from a creative perspective, um, and being able to navigate between the two worlds unapologetically, came from my mentor. And I'm going to challenge you with this question. My mentor said to me, "Who is your great-great-grandfather?"
My great-great-grandfather?
Yeah, your great-great-grandfather.
I do not know. I know my great-grandfather. I
Right.
know my great.
And so, one of the things that he said to me was, that is usually that is usually the response to that question. No one typically knows who their great-great-grandfather is. And so he said to me, he implored me and said, "Sai, from your daughter, who you love dearly, 2 generations from her, they won't know who you are." Right? That just shows you how fleeting life is, and it brought it closer. So what he said was, "Sai, you
It's
can."
not going on. It's just me.
You can posture, you can try to be the man, you can be the super cool business manager, you can do all of these things, but 2 generations from now, the story of who you are won't matter
Right.
2 generations from your daughter.
Right.
So understand that in this space of this world, from 41 to when the wheels fall off for you, these stories only matter to you and you alone. So what are you doing? What are you doing it for, right? So for me, I like to create because it allows me to, I feel, leave an imprint as shallow as it may be, maybe a year, but someone says, "Yo, that's cool," or maybe 2 years or 5 years, or just where I can put things out in the world and make the world a slightly better place. Because, I think that's our license for being on this world. If you're not doing that, if you're not impacting, if you're not pouring into other people, if you're not being expressive, then what are you doing this for